all that traffic just causes me so much stress. It's one of the things I love about Cleveland. We don't normally have traffic jams.
Right, right. You know, having moved, a lot of people have, but having moved here from a big city, I feel like there really isn't much traffic, you know, at any time.
No.
Certainly
Well,
not.
we came from Philly,
Mhm.
and like you'd be flying down the Schuylkill at like a random time of day, and like you would come around a curve and it'd be like bam, like 30 minutes
Right,
on the
right.
highway.
You get used to it. Yeah, so this is pretty easy.
Do we have?
We are
Oh,
live.
there's Dave Bloom. There he is.
Hello.
Okay.
Hi,
Yeah.
Dave.
How are
And
you?
we're
I'm on-
recording it on YouTube.
Okay, I'm on my phone, so I can't see everybody at one time.
Oh, okay.
So it is Thursday, May 20th at 8:31, and this is a meeting of the Chagrin Falls Village Finance Committee, the most exciting committee in all of Village
Oh, yeah.
Council. And the lucky participants are Mr. Wythel, Mr. Newell, Mr. Jameson, and Mr. Bloom, and myself. Okay, so we're gonna go just through our regular year-to-date financials and do a little temperature check and make sure we are healthy. Mr. Bloom?
Okay. Let's see. We can start with that one, the general fund report. Just in summary, there's really nothing much to point out this month, but everything is really in good shape, both on the revenue side and the spending side. This will show you the general fund spending through April. At this point, you want to be about 1/3 of the way through your budget. And as you can see in column 3, just about every department is basically below budget, which is very
Dave, that's comparative year over year, 12-month rolling, those last two columns.
The column 3 is the actual spending to date.
Right.
It's the 4 months of 2021,
Mhm.
and then compared to where we were at this point in 2020.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. The only two things maybe to point out here, the ambulance service again looks high, but we're always 1 month ahead in payments. So we've made 5 payments instead of 4
Yeah.
on their billing cycle. And then if you'll notice, the law department looks a little low, actually. We're behind 1 payment on that. So
Oh, okay.
that will catch up in May. I think we have 2 checks going out in May for the law department. Other than that, we're in very good shape. We're at about 28.9%, which is obviously below 33.
Why is Parks so low?
They just haven't spent much money yet.
Yeah,
It'll
right.
catch up quickly now that they're getting ready for summer,
Okay.
putting a
Yeah.
lot more time. And a lot of that is payroll related, and they have not been dedicating the time to parks
Okay.
up through
Right.
March or April, but now
Okay.
it'll,
That
You
makes sense.
You expect to see that get closer to that 14%.
right. And
Relatively
all the
quickly.
supplies they buy and everything, they don't
Yeah.
buy till spring. So
Got it.
Okay.
that will end up pretty close. If you look at last year too, we were only at about 14% of the annual budget.
What is non-government transfers? What's that line item?
Transfers are any transfers that we have in the budget. We are going to be making a transfer to the sewer department. If you remember, it was in the budget, 125,000.
Yep. Right.
Haven't made it yet. And non-governmental are just other things that don't fit into any other category.
Gotcha.
And we don't really have much like that this year. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
If there's no questions there,
Looks good.
bring up the next one. Again, this shows column 3 versus column 4. It shows our cash balance on April 30th for each major fund versus where we project it to be at the end of the year. And pretty much across the board, we're in very good shape at this point. The only thing to point out here that's unique or different, I mentioned it last month, but we didn't get it done. I didn't get the information to Joan to put in the computer, put in the system, is the water fund. You'll see the year-to-date expenditures look low, and which leaves the cash balance very high on 430. We've already paid it, but it wasn't recorded. We owe Zion's Bank $900,000 for the refinancing on the meters.
Yeah.
So we got the money in, so you can see that in the year-to-date receipts from Key Bank, the new bank involved, and we have to repay Zion's Bank $900,000. So in the month of May, that will even out.
Why do, I mean, I know that the water reserve capital improvement is technically the same as the regular water fund,
Correct.
but why do we show a negative there?
We just put very little in there and we've charged a few things out, mainly for East Washington Street. The project there, some of that is water related and we are charging fees to that. We pay for things before we get reimbursed. So that's an OWDA project. So we may pay CT for some engineering on that for water related, the water related part of it. And then a month or two later, we'll get reimbursed from the state. So we're always going to be lagging behind there. Other than that, we
Okay.
haven't done much with it. You can see the numbers are pretty low.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. And other than that, everything looks very good at this point. Any questions on that?
Not for me.
Oh, it's good. Our income is right on target, isn't
It
it?
is. We're actually a little bit ahead of what we projected at this point. Mhm.
Excellent, excellent.
It's great.
And the final sheet that I have for you is also shows that we're in pretty good shape here. Through the month of May, I've updated the top three categories. The bottom two lag behind. I haven't finished those yet for the month. They're pretty small. The
Yeah.
income tax, as you can see, is doing really well. We're about 15% of where we were at this point last year, 15% higher.
Okay.
I did want to point out, if you look at the other 2 years, in 2019 and 18, we're actually down a little bit.
Yeah.
We're down about 7% versus
Quite a bit.
2019 and about 2.5% versus 2018. Part of that may be COVID related, still carrying into this year. But the other thing to remember is Rita extended their filing deadline for 2021
Yeah.
from mid-April to mid-May.
So do you think by June we'll have a better sense if we're really down or if it's just
Yeah,
about
I
the
think so,
filing?
because if you look at last year, well, if you look at the 2018 and 2019, the May collections in both years were very high
Yeah.
compared to the other months of the year. And that is due to the filing deadline being April 15th.
Right.
If you look at this year, our filing deadline is May 15th and our May
Mhm.
collections are not,
India.
they're good, but they're not as high as they look like they should be. So I'm thinking that'll carry over into June.
Okay.
We'll
I'd like to keep an eye on that and make sure
We'll-
we cover that specifically next
watch for
month.
that. But right, if people
Yeah.
are told not to pay till May 15th,
Yeah, they're not gonna.
they tend not to do that, right?
Yeah, if
I
you look
don't
at
blame
that,
them.
if you look at that 4-year look back from 18, all those months look pretty static, except, February's got a little bit of change in it, but May's got, a significant change on the negative side.
Right.
But I get what you're saying. Those collections through the 15th will catch up and we'll see them in June.
It should show up in June, right?
Okay.
Last year is kind of not worth comparing to because May is when we
Right.
began to see our
Right.
collections really dive.
Yeah. You almost have to compare all budgets to 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the filing deadline last year was kicked back all the way till July, if I remember right. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can see the really large collection in August of
Right.
last year. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
On the other two bigger items here, the local government fund is doing very well. We're higher than in each of the past 3 years by a bit.
Right.
But we're
2000.
expecting them to cut that in this biennium budget because
Right.
they were looking at going back to like the crazy low numbers again.
Yeah, so
So frustrating.
the good thing for us is most of our money comes from the county and the county has their own formula. But if they get less money from the state overall, that'll reduce their total pot too. So,
Yeah, I feel like they were going back to the 2018 number percentage. So I think we're gonna see a cut there. I don't think they're gonna suddenly fund us.
it's very possible.
Sure.
On the gasoline tax, we're doing well. We're down just a little bit from 2020, but that is more of a timing thing. We bill the township every 2 to 3 months we get their money, if you remember.
Mhm.
And I think we've only billed them once so far this year, so we'll be catching up in June or July.
And those dollars provide them their police service,
Correct.
right? Yes.
And the plowing in the winter.
Yes. Just for anyone else out there watching us here on
Right.
the most exciting village
Mhm.
council committee ever. Just so we're all clear why we get
I
their
mean,
tax,
who's
why we
not
get their gas tax.
That's why we get it. Part of
Right.
the arrangement from, I don't know, 1990 maybe.
Right? It's,
It goes back a ways.
Yeah.
The other two items are small overall, but obviously they're down because of the COVID situation. And I don't think we're going to approach 2018 and 19 numbers anytime in the near future. So. But we'll
yeah, I'm not
update
worried.
that.
I'm really not worried about parking fines
No,
and
I'm-
meter fees.
No, we're not. That isn't what we finance the village on. So. Any other questions on that?
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it is. And we're in really good shape after 4 or 5 months. So
Yeah, it's great.
things are looking good.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about our year-to-date financials?
You know, you've brought them up now and then, Aaron, when looking forward into the, final couple of tertiles, that we've got some things coming. So it's really good to know that you guys are on that. You know that we're going to see a swing here or a swing there, and Dave too. So that's really helpful to know. And I've jotted some of that down so it's not such a shock when you see it. Sometimes it's in the positive and sometimes it's in the negative, but it's really good to do that kind of forecasting. It's
Mhm.
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The other thing we're watching right now is the American Recovery Funding. We were told we were getting, I forget the number off the top of my head, but apparently they forgot to include all the municipalities in Ohio when they just determined those numbers. So they're in the
Yeah.
process of adjusting them to include all of the municipalities in Ohio.
Great.
So we're expecting a revised number here.
Is it
And
built into our
Aaron,
budget to expect it?
Pardon?
Is it built into the budget to expect that?
No, we did not.
No.
budget that
It's
at
just a
all.
windfall.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No, well, not really, because there's only certain things we're going to be able to use it for. So we're
Okay.
going to have to keep it within, I know the mayor, one of the things that we can use it for is underground utilities. And so I know there's some thought that we would use it to help expedite some of our older water lines. There's a few other areas that we can spend it on.
I'm sure we'll have no trouble spending it.
Right. There's plenty of water lines at the very least in the village that could use some digging.
Dave and I have
So-
both attended webinars that have gone over the full gamut of what they're talking about now. We don't have any specifics on timing or reporting, but we do have a good idea of what the money can be used for. So,
And we're expecting one check this year for half of it and another check next year, right? For the remainder.
A year from
And then we
now,
have
right.
until 2024 to spend. So it's not like,
2026.
2026, sorry.
2024 to encumber it and then 2026 to spend it.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of flexibility with these dollars, which is nice, unlike the last set, which, TikTok.
Excellent. That's going to help.
That's
Sure.
my deep analysis.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Otherwise, we can adjourn and call this the shortest committee meeting ever.
No, these are good checkups. Thanks for doing these, Aaron.
problem.
And everybody who put the information together.
Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
Oh, no
thanks,
problem.
Dave.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, so let's meet in June and let's adjourn at 8:43.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.